Hey, what's good, Pisces? I'm gonna do this reading for the lunar eclipse, which is actually in your sign, right, of Pisces. So let's see what wants to come through for you, right? Lunar eclipse in Pisces, 4 degrees, right? I'm not gonna even pretend that I know what that means, right? The 4 degrees, but I know that that's what it is, right? So first, let's go ahead and get a spirit animal for you during this time for this Yeah, for this lunar eclipse in Pisces, let's see what spirit animal will help you during this time. Pisces. Pisces. Wow, the ants. The ants, Pisces. Ant spirit, time to collaborate. One. Wow. Wow, ant spirit. Time to collaborate. Okay. So there it is. Maybe it's a good time to collaborate, right? Maybe it's a good time. I'm gonna put one from my Book of Oracle deck, right? Which I just finished. The book, I'm just getting samples to see. Right, let me see. Whoa. Oh, wow. Rite of passage. 16. I don't know. What did you just go through, right? Maybe you just went through something that you feel was very hard, but spiritually, right? It was meant as a rite of passage, right? This was something that was meant, right? Rite of passage. 1 6 adds up to 7, which is very divine, right? With the one and the six, 7, right? 7 days in a week. Rite of passage. So what did, right? And look at, they're in the water, right? So maybe your spiritual gifts have been opening up lately or something, right? Or they will, right? Something with this lunar eclipse is almost like yeah, kind of like a ceremony in a way for you, right? So there's no mistake. I mean, there's no coincidence that this lunar eclipse is in your sign. Why am I using this deck? That's funny that I reached for it. Let's see. Okay, so what kind of rite of passage is Pisces going through, right? Community, maybe it's about that working with community, or maybe you had to do something by yourself and it's gonna make you stronger when you collaborate with others. The ant spirit, right? Interesting. Wow. Maybe it was about learning, right? Not over fantasizing about things. Scorpio, making decisions. Yeah, multiple possibilities, but being able to choose something, right? And it's funny that the Eight of Cups came out with it. There you are. Oh yeah, that's you, Pisces. Like, right, look at following your path. Like knowing once you make a decision, right? Okay, there's 8 cups. I mean, there's 7 cups. Shoot, I'll leave all the eight behind, right? Like I don't even care. I know where I'm going. Look at end of a era, right? Final de una etapa. Wow. Something made you reach your limit, right? It's funny that this is like a no card in the solar plexus, but it almost makes me feel like, right? Like that's a healthier solar plexus card, right? Like you knowing something isn't working for you anymore and you willing to, right, to just walk away, forget it, right? Maybe in the past you, wow, all the water signs came out. Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, right? Maybe before you used to be in this poopy pants type mode and you would miss out on opportunities. If you haven't yet, that's what this eclipse is gonna be, the main focus, right? It's gonna be about you learning to make a choice and stick with it, right? If in the past you'd fantasize too much about, oh, what about this? Well, but what about this? Or what about this, right? No matter what it was, jobs, love, this, that. And then once you had opportunities, still thinking about the past or being stuck, right? And then not wanting to do anything at all, right? Like imagine that's almost like a pouty type energy, right? Well, if I didn't get it this way, I don't want it, right? Like that kind of stuff. So maybe in the past you even acted like that. I don't know, right? Look at the world came out, so it doesn't surprise me that. that's the end of that era, right? Rite of passage. Something you finally figured something out, right? Reached this point of being able to grab something and walk towards it, see the vision, you know? It's giving me like that King of Cups kind of energy, right? Like now someone a Pisces that's more emotionally balanced. Or you're on your way there, right? That's why the rite of passage. Maybe now that's why you can work with others because now you can control your emotions. If in the past you couldn't, right? You were like too much like, oh, I don't know what I want. Or then once you got something that you thought you wanted, no, I still want this other thing. What about that? Or something, right? Just someone that, right? Maybe now you've learned to take, like, you can see an opportunity and rush towards it, right? Like, maybe you do have air, right? Like, some of your placements, maybe Aquarius, maybe you got Aries, right? Let me see. Well, actually does make sense when you think about it. The Judgment card came out, and that's actually before the world. So the card literally says the path you take will depend on you. So I think like that's kind of yeah what you learn. Maybe that's been your rite of passage, right? And that's funny because yeah, it's a passage, right? The rite of passage, traveling down a passage, right? This one's water, but this one's land, right? Oh, that kind of gave me chills. Maybe you've even been able to master that land and water kind of energy, right? Maybe you have earth. Interesting. Even this one, right? They're in coffins, but it looks like they're in the ocean, right? Oops. They're like in the water, right? Aren't they? Yeah, they're like in coffins in the water, it looks like. Right? I've never actually looked up if they are in water, but it looks like they're well, I'm blocking it because all the interesting. Maybe yeah, like there's a part like the old you kind of has died, right? In a way. Not in, Interesting. Wow, rite of passage, Pisces. There's something there. What else for Pisces during this lunar eclipse? What else for wow, yeah, see, maybe you got a mentor, you got someone to kind of help you, right? Searching for someone that helps guide you, right? For your life, right? So maybe that's kind of what helped you, right? The five, the number of change, education, knowledge, learning, right? Doing the correct thing, right? So maybe that's how you began to figure it out, right? The process of elimination, right? Because it was like, well, that's not the correct thing, right? Maybe something in you was like, that's how it's the easy way, right? If you had all these choices, well, what's the correct thing to do? Boom, that eliminated all these other things, right? Maybe that eliminated more than half of them, and you're like, wow, these three are kind of all technically correct, but I still got to choose one, right? So what's gonna make me happy? Or what do I really feel in my spirit? What's my soul telling me, right? Things like that, but doing the correct thing, right? Maybe before someone hadn't taught you what's doing the right thing and you learned, right? Maybe a Taurus kind of guided you. I don't know, right? Interesting. Excuse me. Wow. I love how, all the signs too. When you get into like, when I do the all signs, sometimes there's similar themes, but well, I mean, there still is with these, right? But when you go more in depth, like in these readings, you can kind of see where everyone's at, right? Like the different signs have different priorities at the moment, right? Let me see this. Wow. Maybe before that, yeah, right? Because I asked if it was you and it said no. So maybe in the past you were dealing with it. win at all costs energies, unless that was you and then that old you has died, just like I said, right? Being reborn from the caskets. A judgment. Wow, maybe that was the judgment. Maybe something showed you either someone's toxic ways or your own toxic ways, and that part that died, right? Either this, right? Like no more dealing with people like this that are win at all costs, don't know how to communicate, self-sabotage. It's a self-sacrifice too, but maybe you self-sacrifice yourself to deal with people like this, right? Because right, change, engaño is like deception, right? Someone deceptive, right? Someone that abuses their power, aggressive, assault, violence, bully, right? Crime. And what did I say about the things that are, wow, that's so funny because I've never said that with this card. Like the process of elimination while doing what's right. Oh, I said it because of this one. Wow, that's so funny. But I've never said that with this card about like eliminating the choices. Well, okay, these four are actually wrong, right? Maybe even against the law, so to speak, right? So, or human law, right? But that's so funny that this is literally someone kind of like that, right? So whether that was your energy or someone you were dealing with, but that has come to a literal death, right? And Scorpio energy. Maybe you were dealing with Scorpio. I don't know. The end of a cycle and a new one begins. Transformation complete. Wow, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. Wow. Wow, you're going through a huge like life change, and but it was like a rite of passage, so don't ever think of it like wasted time, right? Damn, that's powerful stuff. Imagine like yeah, in this life, right? Man, well my brain's going too deep into it, so I'm not gonna but just that, right? Like to me, that's how it would be. Like one life learning a lesson in this life wouldn't be a waste of a life, right? Like to come to this earth, go through one specific thing. Not that you're just going through that and that's it, right? Clearly. But even that, like the lesson I'm seeing here, whatever rite of passage you took to learn this valuable lesson, maybe how to work with others, right? Like I said, if this was you, your kind of energy, right? A bully, this, that. You know, it's almost like that movie Scrooge where they show how horrible Scrooge was to people only to see at the end, right? Then Scrooge's whole life changes at what age, right? His whole life, like to be that old and get it all of a sudden. So the same, right? It wouldn't be a wasted life to go through this kind of rite of passage that I'm seeing. Like whether this was you being the bully or learning to not deal with bullies like this anymore. Like, hey, I don't even need to deal with that. I could do better. All not that, right? But yeah, clearly there was a phase of being alone to learn, right? Like walking away, going on your own path. And I feel like all of it is meant to learn, right? The ants, right? Community. I keep getting my nose is itchy, so I feel like there all these messages, right, that want to come through. Rite of passage, right? Community, right? Time to collaborate. So maybe that was it, right? Like all become one or something. Because it's funny that it's a one card, but it's time to collaborate, right? That's funny that's the choice they chose for one. Like all are one, right? All become one. Well, when you collaborate, right? Like there's a purpose, there's a goal. So okay, anything else? Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Interesting message, right? So for this lunar eclipse, I don't know if you want to focus on that, but it seems like that's kind of the thing that's going, yeah, wow. Maybe in the past, right, all those burdens, 10 though, it's complete. Not having to deal with that anymore, right? The fatigue, stress, owing things, obligations, problems, right? Because imagine even that, right? If that was your energy, right? Or you were either dealing with someone that didn't help you, right? All this stuff, bullying, violent, all this, um, or that, right? imagine others wanting to help you if this was your energy and people are trying to help you and you're just like this mean person and then you complain about why I gotta carry all this by myself. But why would anyone want to be around you if this is you, right? So whatever lesson you learn, right, it feels like you'll know how to. And it's funny because that 10 is the one, which is the ants, right? The one, right? Whatever lesson you learn, I feel like you're putting this down now. Let me see. Yeah, interesting message, right? Interesting message. This feels like this is. There wasn't really nothing to do with like, because the other readings I did, there was like relationship stuff. With yours is no, look at the arts. Wow, maybe there's. Wow, this actually came out for one of the other signs. So it's funny, Celtic, right? That maybe, right, you're connected to this kind of culture. The United Kingdom might be significant. Maybe you recently went to Ireland, or I forgot what the other, like, yeah, one of those countries, the UK. Maybe when you see those things, it sparks something in you, right? Maybe the arts are significant. Maybe you're an artist, right? Maybe that's part of your burden. Maybe you try to hold a steady job and try to do your art on the side, and you wish you had more time and someone that's supportive of that, right? And you don't have that. But maybe it's time to collaborate, right? Maybe collaborating with others on, your art, right? Your music, your art. Maybe you play the guitar, piano, right? There's a piano there on the side, right? Guitar, the arts. Interesting, right? Okay, so I think that's kind of it. Let's pull these. Wow, 11. I forgot who did that just come out? I think it came out as well. 11. So yeah, maybe your March 5th, March 6th, March 11th might be significant. 56, 65. What else? What else? I think that's it. I mean, there's really not. I feel like that's kind of been your journey. And during this eclipse, that's kind of the focus, right? Time to collaborate. Rite of passage. So just don't feel like anything was. I think that was a huge thing for you, right? Learning how to make decisions, learning how to stick to something. Wow, yeah, see, Page of Wands. Maybe that, being optimistic about that, right? Maybe there is some love coming in. Messages, non-commit. Oh, wow, free spirit, curious, creative talent. There's that creativity, right? Impulsive ideas. So maybe that right now is just a time of focusing on yourself. Yeah, wow, look at long-term investment. So maybe you're feeling passionate about that, right? What you want to do with your career, right? And you're willing to collaborate with people. So yeah, I don't think, yeah, because I said there was really nothing here about love, like the relationship stuff, and this even kind of just confirms that non-commitment, right? That's not something you're looking for right now, Pisces. Long-term investment, hard work, possible delay, Saturn's gift, frustration, reward. I don't feel like there's unless you're going through your Saturn return. Maybe some of you are going through a Saturn return. That's why this rite of passage was so big, right? It was a huge lesson. That's why I said, imagine. I don't think I've ever said that in a reading where it's like that lesson could be a whole life lesson and it was worth it. It wasn't a life wasted, right? So that's funny that this card came out. But I feel like you're starting a new adventure, right? A new journey. My whole crown's lighting up. So I feel like that's the end of the message there. Yeah, and let me know, right? Hopefully this helps. Don't forget to like the video, write comment, help out the algorithm, all that good stuff. And on that note, I'll end it there. All right. Thank you, Pisces, so much. All right. Peace.